Ahoy folks, Craigo here for Pure Xbox. In this video we'll be digging into what makes Hypercharge Unboxed great and also maybe not so great. But before we get going, this review was written by Ben Carey for PureXbox.com and turned into video by me. We've been hearing about Hypercharge Unboxed eventually coming to Xbox for bloody ages at this point, and the day is finally here for us to live out our childhood toy soldier dreams. Make no mistake, this is a bit of a silly shooter at heart, but it's one that definitely has its place in the market amongst a sea of beige, realistic competitors. And we've had a blast playing it in recent days.
Clearly me falling into the toilet once wasn't enough, was it?
If we've not already made it clear enough, here's how Hypercharge Unboxed presents itself. A bunch of plastic soldiers and monsters have burst out of their collectible boxes to take the fight to any bedroom, closet, or slice of garden available to them. The scale is a bit like Obsidian's Grounded, where everyday objects look absolutely massive as you fight in and amongst them. And this visual spin on the humble shooter is a much welcome one. We simply never got bored of it during our review time.
Keep your formation. Only a few more enemies left.
As for the structure of Hypercharge, this is a multiplayer shooter at its core. There's no proper story campaign mode, save for a few levels stitched together with brief comic book cutscenes, and the focus here is on PvE and PvP encounters that will no doubt be heightened by bringing in a good group of pals to play with. Having said that, we spent our review time tackling the game's various maps and modes with bots, and we still very much enjoyed it. You can absolutely play Hypercharge in single player. Just don't expect some cinematic story-driven campaign is all we're saying. The part that is most campaign-like is made up of just over a dozen tower defense-like levels where you'll have to protect a collection of cores from waves of toy soldiers. There's a bit of downtime where you're expected to set up your defenses, find any collectibles that you're after, and generally explore the level before the onslaught begins. And although a bit repetitive in its concept, each map does its best to shake things up. You might get toy soldier tanks cruising through for a wave, or a collection of high-flying cardboard airplanes dropping soldiers into unexpected locations every so often. It's all good fun whichever way things play out, and this is backed up by some satisfying combat, shall we say. You can play Hypercharge Unboxed in either first or third person, and we took to the right shoulder third person view the best here. There's nothing wrong with switching it up and going for the FPS viewpoint. The game plays well from this perspective as well. But that extra visibility that you get from third person is well worth taking advantage of. The game's various indoor maps can be quite cluttered, and it felt easier for us to hop around and take out baddies in third person, but each to their own. You get to play around with rifles, shotguns, snipers, flamethrowers, grenade launchers, and a bunch of other plastic weaponry in game. But make no mistake, the weapons here do not feel flimsy at all. Shooting packs a real punch, whichever viewpoint you choose to play from, and we were genuinely surprised by how good Hypercharge feels to play. Sniping is a bit wonky due to the overall visibility and fast-paced nature of the game, but everything else is an absolute blast to play around with, and you should certainly get some mileage from this one based on the enjoyable combat alone. Speaking of extra mileage, there's a decent suite of versus modes included in this package too. Again, these are playable entirely offline with bots, or online with real players, so there's plenty of flexibility in how you can tackle this portion of the game. Team Deathmatch, King of the Hill, Capture the Battery, and a few more are present, and while nothing outlandish, these add some extra meat to the bones of Hypercharge. You'll be playing the game's campaign levels here in a different form, although some of the objective modes do banish certain maps from the pool to successfully accommodate specific objective points and the likes. Hypercharge Unboxed is a highly competent effort from a technical perspective. You're getting 60 FPS gameplay at very respectable resolution figures across the board with this new release. It's especially nice to see Xbox Series S land with some impressive specs here too, with it hovering around 1720p that can at times hit up to 4K, which is not bad. One other thing we want to note before wrapping things up is that we didn't get an opportunity to try the game out on a public multiplayer server during our review time. This is often the nature of these things when reviewing games pre-launch, but the team has confirmed that the game can be played offline and online, including split screen with PC crossplay support also arriving on launch. Hypercharge Unboxed delivers fantastic first and third person shooting across a good variety of maps and modes, and we've been genuinely impressed by how this indie shooter feels on Xbox with a gamepad in hand. Sure, outside the novel theme, Hypercharge doesn't really do anything truly unique as a shooter, but that theme is refreshing enough on its own to make this a worthwhile endeavor. Adding in some real-life co-op buddies will likely extend the game's shelf life by quite a bit, but even as a solo player, we can still recommend Hypercharge Unboxed to any shooter fan. Now, go forth and reclaim that spare bedroom. Will you be picking up and playing Hypercharge Unboxed on Xbox this summer? Let us know in the comments. As always, thanks for watching. All that's left to say is bye-bye for now. Cheerio!